Alrighty, y'all. Hope y'all are having a good day, evening, whatever it is. Just making another video. Haven't made one in a little bit. Having trouble with my Innovate gauge. I think it was mainly just my sensor, but I probably could have just swapped out my sensor. But I just wanted to try something new. Of course, for most people that know me, know that I don't really like the old AEM Yu-Gi-Oh gauges with the digital ones. That's the older one though. This is the new X series. I've had the analog. I didn't have any problems with that one reading accurately with ECMLink. I'm just now getting it. All I did was cut the tape here, so we're basically unboxing it together. So I'm going to do the install on it, and I'll do a comparison, but it's supposed to be faster. You can calibrate this one much like an Innovate. You don't have to, but you can, which I probably will from time to time, but it'd be preferable not to have to do that all the time. Let's see, so we've got a bung. Looks like some crimp connectors here. And I can't tell if that's just a twist tie or whatever that is. I'm not too worried about it. Sorry if you hear the dog screaming in the background. I got some puppies going on, but over there. Let's see, so got the sensor. We got a wiring harness here. Get all the stuff untangled. I'm just in here on my kitchen sink or a kitchen counter. So we've got the sensor, the wiring. Looks like it'd be pretty simple for the most part. Looks like let's see, got the part that plugs into the back of the gauge, part that plugs into the sensor. I'm sure this. Let me see. Hold on. I've got to have another one here. Yeah. Okay. This is the part that would plug into the back of the gauge as well, and this is my wiring. I'll have to investigate that, see what wires go where. I know there's two wires that'll probably go to the ECU, probably power ground, and then I think two to the ECU. I don't know what the other ones are for. I'll be having to check that. And then if I can get it out with one hand. I'm always making videos of one-handed. I wish I had a cameraman or something. So, oh, it's got a little screw on here, on the back of the gauge on here, with the little clamp, so I'm having to undo that little piece right there. And then I can take that off. Then I can lift up the cardboard and get my gauge. So I know literally hardly anything about it as far as setting it up. Personally, I know it's a thinner gauge. I don't know how well I'll like that, but I guess we'll see, because I've got a gauge cup that's going to go in the place of my Innovate. So I'll figure it out. I'll give my reviews on it. See what I think about it. I'm going to get all my little videos and edit them all together. Let's see. So far it looks pretty nice though. I like the gauge itself. I just, some people like the thinner ones. So I kind of like it deeper, because if it's going to sit down in the cup, I don't want it falling out. So I'll have to find something to hold it in there if it can't go in there very well. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But so I got a mode. Looks like select, whatever the case. It's going to go right on my steering column. And where I've got a cup mounted for my Innovate as it is right now. And I'll get it installed, powered up, and then we'll check and see how it does. I've got an alternator I got to put in. Had some electrical issues. I was having a whole bunch of electrical issues. I was racking my brain trying to figure out. Got all that sorted out, other than I have to put in a alternator there. So, but so I've got that as well. So hopefully the alternator works out for me. But pause for a moment. Let me go ahead and get it installed, and I'll come right back at it. All right, so I went ahead and pulled off my gauge little cup here. This is what mounts on top of my steering column. And I forgot that actually my Innovate gauge is actually about just as thin as this one right here, but I don't know why I was thinking that little black piece that was in the plastic bag was a twist tie, but it's like a little rubber band, kind of like this one is right here, which helps take up the slack. So as you can see, I mean, that's all that's holding it in there. It's staying pretty firm. But and I've already hooked up the other wire for the O2 sensor, pretty simple, and just hooked up the harness. And this is really the only one I've got. I was looking in the directions last night. So I've got my red for fused power for 5 volt fuse for my red one. Black one is ground, and then I believe my white and brim go to my ECU, and I've got these 3 wires, the green, blue, and white with black here. Those will just be unused, so I'll put heat shrink over the ends of them and probably just fold them up and get them out of the way. But that's it for that one. Nothing real too complicated on it. The one thing I do like, I was looking through the directions last night. This one, if you want to use lambda as a reading, you can. You just have to switch the mode. You can do a calibration mode on it as well. I was watching a video on that, and that's real quick and easy compared to Innovate's. You can do the mount. I mean, not the mount. You can do the calibration for theirs. I would do mine from time to time, but it's a little not quite as easy as the one for this one. But I'll get it hooked up and we'll go through it, test it out, and I'll show you the different modes and see what we got. All right, y'all, so as you can see behind me there, I've got my car up on the trailer trying to get it ready for the track. I've had my electrical issues, got my wideband stuff pulled out, trying to get my new stuff in. I'm gonna flip this around so you can see. I've got this is my Innovate gauge I pulled out. It's only got 1 port on it, unlike the AEM. It's got 2 places to plug in. But one thing I will say, I like the fact that this is more accurate with ECMLink than the old AEM gauges, but the wiring I hated. A lot more of it, a little bit more confusing. This right here, if I can get all this out, this is what's involved just going to the O2 sensor. So 2 of these wires I don't even really need. It's got 2 ends like this. I guess you're supposed to plug into something else, and with ECMLink it's not really even needed. So I've got this end, and I got this end that's not even needed. It's just kind of sitting there taking up space, so I didn't need. And so this is just for the wideband controller. This box here, I had to wire these up. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 wires there. I had to wire in the switch for the calibration. You got this LED, you got to wire that in as well. So you got to wire this in, and then you also have to wire in the gauge itself separately, which is this connector. And that got kind of confusing to me. I even called technical support to try and help me out because the instructions weren't real clear. They couldn't even help me. After searching and searching and searching on DSM tuners, I finally found out that one of these wires here, I believe it's the brown one, you have to split to another wire, which is, you know, to make it read correctly, because otherwise it was like 7.3 or something is what it would read, and wasn't even right. So but I'll show you the difference between this right here with the AEM. So I'll walk over here to the car. There's my lazy helper right there. So anyway, so bring this over to the car. You can see how big this box is here, where I had to tuck it in. This is the AEM. This is going to my exhaust over here. If you can see it. Yeah, I probably should have welded it more out of an angle like so versus up. So I'll have to remedy that later. But anyway, got this big honking thing here, and it was kind of a pain because every time I'd have to separate this, if I was doing a free air calibration, I'd have to pull this little tab out that way, and it's kind of hard to do. Screwdriver or something would probably help, but I finally got the gist of it, and I got the hang of it. But it's just this big old hunking thing here. I had to wire all through the car, kind of a pain. So where this is just this little bitty box. Now I understand everybody's probably going to mount theirs in a different location. Mine, I've just got it tucked down in there, and as you can see, I'm just zip tying mine on up, and I'm going to run it through. I'm going to run it on through and down into the firewall. If I got any excess, I'll just I'll loop it up and zip tie it up underneath the dash. But I've just got this one cable here, and then the gauge has another wiring with just 4 wires, and that's it. It's pretty simple. Just basically just 4 wires that you really got to wire up, power, ground, and 2 to the ECU. So a lot simpler, a lot less to have to deal with. But anyway, let me get back to it. I got some work to do. All right, so I'm about to install the gauge. This is where I'll have it. ran the one cable through the firewall. Probably can't see it, but it's going down the floorboard. I've already got my ECU pulled out because I was doing some diagnostics. That'll make it easier to wire in, and then I just have to put my ECU back up. But all this extra excess right here, I'll just have to zip tie up underneath so it's not all hanging down. Excuse all the buses going by. Live near a school, so if you hear them driving by. But anyway, so yeah, they clipped in there real nice. I've had some where I've actually had to just try and push them down in there, and they didn't really have anything to keep the connectors in there. If they pulled out, they pulled out. These actually had a clip, which I did like that part. But I've just got that one cable that's going up underneath the dash into the O2 sensor, and then I've got this end right here with just the 4 wires, and that'll be pretty easy to get to as well. So I'm going to go ahead and wire it up, get everything installed, and then I'll come back and we'll test out the gauge once I get everything put back together and see how it works. So all right, y'all, so I got it all installed, firing it up for the first time, seeing what it does. Look like it's counting down. Then I got to set up ECMLink, get all my parameters straight. And I guess that's it for now until get some fuel to it. So now time to calibrate an ECMLink, and that'll be next. Alright, so I got the wideband installed. I just want to go over the wires that I hooked up. Had the red to switch source at the fuse box with the 5-amp fuse. Black was just a chassis ground. Number 3, 4, and 5 here, the green / black, white and black and blue wires. These weren't even used, so I soldered, or I put some heat shrink around those. Folded it up, put it away. So these 3 wires aren't used, so we only have the red, black, white, and brown wires. So the white wire hooked up to, this is on the 2nd gen, of course. I forget all the pinouts for 1st gen, but on the 2nd gen I put the white wire on pin 75 for the rear O2 sensor, and the brown one was to pin 92 for the sensorgram. And that was it. There's really only 4 I had to hook up. And good to go. Other than that, just plug the harness in the back of the gauge. Then we're over to ECMLink because we got to get everything calibrated for that. Now I've already put everything in mine to get that set up. I've got my other videos as far as how to set it up, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that. But here's your chart with your voltages. I really don't know why you'd be using all the stuff in between unless you're just really having a hard time calibrating or something, or I really don't know, because you're really going to use the minimum volts and the lambda, and the maximum volts and the lambda, and that's basically what you put in. So just showing you that. And of course I got mine set up for lambda, not lambda, linear wideband. I've got that set up, and so all I did, as you can see here, I've got my minimum volts 0.5. So let's take a look here. So let's see if I can get my chart. I probably can't see it that way, but minimum volts, if you're looking at the chart here, 0.05, and the lambda 0.058. So as you see, I've got 0.05, 0.058, and then the max volts 4.50, and the lambda 1.23. As you see, I've got 4.50, 1.23. So just plug those numbers in. You got those wires hooked up. Save it, and you're good to go. Should match pretty good. I've tuned some cars with this wideband. This is going to be the first time for me using it, but I haven't had a problem with this particular gauge matching, so or not matching as far as an ECMLink. So I guess we'll see how it goes. Been pretty simple so far. Now I will say, like if you had the Innovate MTXL in comparison, that was probably about as easy as far as wiring as the AEM setup. Might be a little bit more difficult as far as the calibrating and stuff, but I mean probably easier as far as setting everything up in ECMLink, because you don't have to worry about linear wideband. You just select LC1. It doesn't matter if you're using LC1 or LC2. You're just throwing in LC1 and it should be matching. for some reason it doesn't, it might just be your wiring isn't the greatest, or you know, if it's still not matching, you may have to go to linear wideband and then set that up based on the scale, open air, and putting in a gas soaked rag. But so far I enjoy it. I'm going to stop for now because I'm going to get a video of actual using it, and I'll get my review later. But this is basically the install and my opinions on it. So like it so far. It's pretty nice, fairly simple to use. So but anyway, that's it for now. I'll make more later. Y'all have a good one.